So, Carla, you got a reality show streaming on Amazon Prime. What kind of reality show was that? Is it like real, or like reality TV real?
Well, no, it was kind of real because it was in the early days of reality TV. It was like over 10 years ago when I first moved here. And I always kind of viewed it as more of a sitcom that just unfolded because there was a lot of comedy and had a great crew. And I was new to reality TV, so I really hated like doing fake stuff because often it just sets you up to look like an idiot, which I'm fine with now that I know more how it works. But it was pretty real. Just came on Amazon Prime a few years ago, so it kind of got a
Oh,
new
okay,
a
okay.
new life when Amazon Prime came about. Then yeah, so it was streaming
I
on
get
Amazon
it. Yeah.
Prime, so got new life. It was what was very real. One of my beloved dogs passed away during season 2, so
I'm sorry about that.
it was awful because he was basically my emergency contact, and we were filming, and we still had a few days of filming, and kind of had to make a decision to continue or not. And I thought maybe it would help other people, so it was pretty raw. Had very swollen eyes for a lot of the episodes, and then I started getting contacted by a lot of people who had lost their pets because I know that if people aren't animal people, they don't understand this, but it's often worse than you losing a human because the pet never pisses you off. They're completely innocent. It's unconditional love. And, they don't have a lot to learn here, so they pass away. I always kind of want to flip it with human years. So yeah, there was a lot of raw elements, a lot of really funny elements. I enjoyed the experience, and I think it's always who you're working with. And
Right.
who doesn't love doing a reality show in Malibu? It was fantastic.
Do you believe in like afterlife stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm a big combination of woo woo and wacky. I absolutely believe in afterlife stuff. Yes. Yeah,
And
my whole jam is kind of combining comedy and spirituality. So I
okay.
think I believe in reincarnation. I'd like to come back as Steve Harvey's mustache for one, because I adore him. Yeah, I mean, none of us know for sure, so it's a lot more interesting I don't think we're alone. The whole thing. I hope. I don't think we're the most evolved, intelligent species. I'm assuming there are aliens out there who are way further ahead and Wordle than we are.
Right.
But and I do believe that the whole we're souls kind of just renting tuxedos for this life, and probably some of us come back a lot, like me, because it takes me a long time to learn lessons. So I actually one
Yeah.
time a psychic told me that I remember saying like, yeah, I think we all kind of hope we're old souls, and wise. And I said, am I an old soul? And she said, no, your soul is middle aged, which I thought was the funniest thing. And I'm like, my soul has a dad bod and is sporting a comb over and driving a Corvette. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound very evolved. So I'm just here with my middle-aged soul.
I don't know who actually came up with the idea that we are intelligent, like we have nothing to compare it to.
It's true. I mean,
We
hopefully
just
we're.
compared ourselves to monkeys. Actually, there was a study came out a couple of weeks ago that monkeys are way more smarter than us. I don't know if you saw that.
I did, and I've zero trouble believing that. I think that most animals are. Again, you know where I feel. I always joke, I like dogs better than people because you have to clean up after them, but they'll never poop all over your dreams. And I think that animals, a simple thing, you just live by nature. Nature doesn't force things or try too hard, and there's a lot of instinct. So I think animals are able to do that more naturally than humans. Humans overthink, and there's agendas, and I don't know. So do you believe in the afterlife?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I grew up as a Buddhist, so
Oh,
yeah, so that was all about reincarnation. Oh, yeah,
it's my
reincarnation,
laughing
and we've
Buddha.
been, yeah.
Right. Oh, I love
Uh,
Buddhism. It's such a wonderful, also a great philosophy in the law of detachment, which is
right,
tough
right.
for.
The
Yeah.
thing is, like, if you really dig into real Buddhism,
Mm-hmm.
right, on the surface, it's very positive and nice. But the
Right.
actual message of Buddhism is that we are not supposed to be reborn.
Interesting. Well,
We are
we're probably
supposed
not
to
supposed to
be.
be. We just keep
Well,
failing
yeah.
we keep failing that final exam.
Yeah, the goal of Buddhism, the idea is your goal should be to go to nirvana. That's the
Right, of
final place.
course. Yes.
Right, which means you're supposed to do all the good things in this life. You're here because you've done the bad things.
Oh,
So in a
well,
way,
well, all the religions
I
and
don't know
all
if I'm
religions and
bursting any of the
philosophies.
bubbles.
No, I listen. I always say I'm not religious. I was born Catholic, and I think there's something. First of all religions created by man, so we're starting at that's just the basic cable of religions. So it's already man-made.
Right.
So I think maybe limited and going to be full of dogma. But there are some lovely messages in each one. As I always
Yeah.
say, listen, chicks never fare well in many religions. So from the jump street, I was like, boy, women don't do well in these. So you've got to be it's like a buffet. You pick and choose what you think
We
is
have choices. That's a good thing.
healthiest and tastiest for you,
That's true. So you did a special with the legendary David Sternberg. So what's it like working with a comedy legend like that? And are you going to let him steal all your jokes?
I don't think he will. I've had a few meetings, obviously, and had wonderful. First of all, we're both Canadian, so he's won the Order of Canada, and he's been an icon forever. And the times that I've had the pleasure of having dinner or meetings, or he's come to my comedy show, has just been—he's a spectacular human being, and it's just an honor to know him. So it's wonderful when they always say don't meet your idols because they might disappoint you, but this is a case where he's as wonderful a human as he is talented and brilliant and trailblazer. So
You and your bestie, Michael Stratt Webb, got a new podcast and a book coming out called The Douchest Vegan.
yes, we are during the I don't know which one. This one you may have gotten it off my website or someplace that's not as updated. But yes, during the
Right.
pandemic, I ended up going to Canada for a comedy show, and then I ended up staying. And I was staying with Michael out on a farm in Northern Ontario. Well, not Northern Ontario, but north of Toronto. And Michael is vegan, huge animal lover, and I myself am just vegan adjacent, not a total vegan. But while I was there, when in Rome, he taught me to cook, and I went entirely vegan because he was, and so because my joke is, vegans always tell you what they are. It's like, hi, I'm sorry your mom died. Guess what? I'm vegan. So I said, I feel like vegans kind of act like dicks. Like maybe we should change the narrative here. So yes, we are in the midst of, he's writing all the recipes and I'm writing things that these meals pair well with. Like,
So that's how you become a douchest vegan.
that's how you become a nutritious vegan. You don't take yourself too seriously and you don't feel the
Got it.
need to go door to door and tell everybody. Now
So
I've offended like vegans and non-vegans with that number. So that's always fun.
you got this Chuckles and Chills comedic meditation thing going on.
Mm-hmm. I do.
What's that all about? And so you're trying to make people laugh and relax at the same time?
Yeah, or at least next to each other. It's something I created called Chuckle and Chill, and it's very simple. It just involves I do about a half an hour of stand-up comedy, or I have some other comedians do that, and then I even encourage people if they imbibe, if they want to have a drink or two. So everybody's laughing, releasing endorphins, and getting out of their own way, and then they can sit or lie back, close their eyes, and I take them through an authentic guided meditation that I wrote. I mean, I'm not doing jokes during the guided meditation because that would be really annoying. So it's not as as unconventional or a weird marriage as you would think, because people like myself, I'm always very hyper. I'm like a chihuahua on meth, and it's hard to get into a meditative state. And I really just wanted I think I'm such a big cheerleader of meditation, but it sounds so woo-woo, and especially here in LA, people, there's a million gurus, and they're always telling people they're doing it wrong, and it's just focusing on your breath. So I find that if I'm, when I can make people laugh, or maybe they just feel better about their life when they hear about mine, whatever it is, and also laughter and meditation are the same gamma brainwave. So people go into a deep state of relaxation almost immediately.
Right.
It's
Do you
very
believe
cool.
you can meditate anywhere?
I do, but I think like anything, it takes practice.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of different forms of meditation. I mean, I do a lot of yoga. There's walking, there's moving meditations like yoga or walking. A lot. I don't surf. I can stand up paddleboard, but a lot of surfers say that when it's just getting in flow. When they're surfing, they're in the state of
Mm.
meditation. I think we shouldn't be so strict with how we define it. And
Yeah.
a lot of people I took the word meditation out of it because I would advertise for a show, and some people are, I don't believe in that voodoo. I believe in God. And I said, well, what does that have to do with anything? It's so, I think, everybody's got these rigid beliefs around, and it's just like CrossFit for your mind, Botox for your third eye. It's just, for some, it's just relaxing. Some people claim to have huge epiphanies. So far, I've just been faking my epiphanies. I'd love to have a huge epiphany. But so I joke that it's where stand up meets
No, I
lie
understand
down.
what you're saying. Yeah. I actually
Yeah.
go on bike rides pretty much every evening, and
Hmm.
that's very meditating to me. So I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, you had to
Absolutely. Great
find how you
example.
have. You were a finalist in the 2020 Model Hunt International Competition.
A friend said you should enter this. They have different categories. I, of course, was in the mature model category. And I think I could have won it. But again, the pandemic happened and I was stuck in Canada, so I couldn't come back for the final photo shoot. But I was very
Uh,
thrilled. It was a wonderful experience. It was really fun people. And, um,
did you have to
you
walk
know,
on runaway with like heels and everything?
well, I'm always in high heels. I could fight crime in high heels. My feet are like this, like a Barbie. I'm a tall girl, so I didn't start wearing because I've been tall since birth and towered over all the guys like a mushroom cloud. So I was very self conscious about my height until I got older,
How
and
tall are you?
now I'm not crazy tall. I'm 5'9", but with my heels and
That's still
hair,
tall.
yeah, with my heels and
Right.
hair, I'm about 6'2". So uh, yeah, I enjoy being in them. So yeah, I mean, again, it was all during this crazy time with the pandemic. So that was the problem. We couldn't do a lot of the usual, I think, competitions. In the past. They had a huge show, but so when we did it, we were, kind of masked up and we couldn't have a crowd. So, but
Right.
it was a really nice distraction and fun, and you got to try new things. And I hadn't really done any modeling since college, university, so it was sort of fun to head back. Why not? Because why not become a model fashionably late? It has the word fashion in it, so sure. I do have a movie
Um,
that just got released yesterday. Do you want to talk about something current?
sure.
Because I know you're not going off the current bio, and a lot of stuff's happened in the last couple of years.
Let's do it. What's the movie called?
There we go. The movie is called Murder Anyone, and
Okay.
it's a kind of a nice story, and it's just released yesterday on video on demand. So Amazon,
It's
Vudu,
on Amazon.
iTunes, yeah, it's on all the platforms. And the interesting part about this is it was written by a very legendary writer, Gordon Brissek, who wrote Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs, so legendary in the animation world. And he cast this play, and I did the play at the Whitefire Theater in Sherman Oaks a few years ago, in 2017. And I became very close to Gordon. It was super fun because I play a blind French psychic. It's a ridiculous play. It's like a really funny film noir. And Gordon unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, and his son, who is like a really hotshot director, it's a great up and coming director. He who's directed Jean-Claude Van Damme and all these giant stars. His son, James Brissek, made it into a movie as an homage to honor his father. And I got to be the only one from the play to reprise their role. So I got to play the same role again, the crazy, over-the-top French psychic. And it's a really different, hilarious film. And so we just went to a screening last night. And he dedicated the whole thing. Yep, French blind psychic, range.
How was that?
It was a blast. Everybody on set was really wonderful and funny, and got to improvise while still honoring Gordon's word. It was as much fun to do on the movie as it was in the play. So, and it's just very different, and it's very uplifting, and it's not political. I just think it's a great, crazy movie to reflect these times. Yeah.
So you performed pretty much all over North America.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite city to perform in?
Oh, that's really hard to choose. I kind of like them all for different reasons. I really do. I love Toronto because that's sort of more like my hometown. So that's a blast. And then a place
Canada?
Toronto, Canada. Yeah, I'm from Canada.
Oh, wow, okay.
Even everywhere, it's Utah, Texas, places that I think, are they going to like my comedy? It's been, honestly, every place I really enjoyed.
How did you get into comedy? Were you always funny?
Well, my family's really funny. I just stole a lot of their jokes. I think
Did you really?
well, I do. I still steal my brother's stuff all the time. But I love comedy. I did a speech on comedy when I was in grade 6 and won Kiwanis Festival. Then after university, I was living in Montreal, Canada, and working on the Weather Network. I did a lot of it was news anchor, entertainment anchor. And this was one of my first, it was my first TV job. And I was making my friends laugh, and a comedy club owner overheard me and said, come and try it. And I did. And it went really well. I got into the Just for Laughs Festival, but I was young. I was in my early 20s, and I didn't have a thick enough skin for it. And, people are mean. And it was all Bambi does comedy, and this weather girl is doing comedy. And I just thought, I don't need this crap. I'm going to work in radio and TV. But you kind of have to face your fears. And then over 10 years ago now, I didn't care what other people thought. And I decided to conquer it. So I went back in, started doing stand-up. And now I would jump up and do 45 minutes at a garage sale. I love doing stand-up comedy. So I think it's just a crazy thing to do. So you kind of have to love it.
You've been in LA with Dr. Zira. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes. Again, now Dr. Zira passed away. Chris. This is going to go. I'm going to have to say that you are in my next routine this week when I go up on stage. I literally even sent you a follow-up email and said, did you get my bio? So had you read my bio? I'm not sure where you're getting this one. I think it's probably off my website, which obviously needs to be updated. Yes, Dr. Zira. I've always had dogs. Dr. Zira passed away a couple of months ago. So I'm actually writing a book in her honor, and I'm still in deep grief over her death. But go on.
Have you been heckled on stage?
It's been a while. I don't get heckled much, and I like playing with the crowd. So
yeah,
I think I think people sense that. So I don't mind volleying with somebody heckling. And I think the key to being heckled is if you come back with something quickly and don't show fear, then they're usually going to back down. But yes, in fact, when I did that show in Toronto, and I was taping an album at the time too, there was somebody extremely drunk and whom I know, and he was heckling the entire time, but it sort of became part of the routine. And, the crowd generally gets on your side. And a lot of places, like in Los Angeles, they don't tolerate hecklers. They're removed from, when you're in a proper comedy club. But some places, it's like the Wild West, and you just have to handle your business.
So Dr. Zero was the big dog.
No, Dr. Zero was my little Chihuahua.
Little one. Then now you have a
Yeah.
big one?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't have either right now. I'm looking for a new rescue. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's still pretty recent. So, and it is the first time in my life I haven't had a dog. But she was very special, and she became a support animal. So she went with me. She was literally on stage with me all the time. She traveled with me. After my big dog died, I noticed that she was kind of depressed, and so was I. So I just decided I would make her a service dog, an emotional support animal, and so she came with me everywhere. So
Nice.
we were kind of like, twins, and so because I've always had big dogs. She was the only tiny dog I've ever had, so it was really the only time I was
Can
able
you
to bring a
actually
dog everywhere.
can you take an emotional support dog in a plane? On
Yes.
a plane?
Hmm.
You can.
Yeah. Yep. You can take. Well, they have to be a certain size, which is why, because she was pretty tiny, I was able to take her everywhere.
You can carry like with you, not like on like a baggage or anything.
Oh my God, no, I would
Like
never put a dog in the baggage. No, no, she was in the cabin with me. I would never make it through that flight. There would be an international incident
this is why
because
I
I would
don't
be
have dogs.
I'd just be asking the pilot to please land the plane and let me check on my dog. No, I worked as a flight attendant one summer in between my third and fourth year of university, so I just don't trust airlines for my. I don't want my dog in the baggage compartment. I wouldn't make it through. So no, that's why she was able to come with me, because she was small enough that she could be in her little crate underneath the seat.
Any advice to new comedians or anybody who wants to get into comedy?
Yeah, I think just do it. I mean, because people will talk about it forever, and I know it's terrifying. I had such a huge nerve problem, which is another reason I left it. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And I write every day, even if it's just for a little bit. It's like a practice. It's like meditation or working out. So it's a really, I think, simple formula. It's writing and performing, because you can write to your heart's content, but you got to see if it flies on stage. And you can stay on. I mean, there's some comedians who are doing the same stuff for the last 20 or 30 years on stage because they love they know it's safe. So I think it's a
Right.
combo of those two things, and also finding something that's really original and unique to you, but still universal.
Right.
So, I love doing personal stuff. I love pop culture because I worked in it for so long with, being an entertainment host. And I also think there's an opportunity there to uplift. It doesn't have to always be angry comedy, but if that's your
Mm.
thing, I'd also just say be yourself. Like sometimes people are trying to be, I'm going to be like Kevin Hart, or I'm going to be like, but there's only one of you, and there's Kevin Hart's already doing that. So and it takes a while to find your voice. That where you're kind of being your authentic self, because it's probably vulnerable, and it's easy to want to just be, I gotta do what, Ricky Gervais does, but you can't, because that's his thing. And so I think you just have to find your own thing.
Yeah. What do you think about all this sensitive stuff going on these days? Especially, they're really coming after comedians.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
Well,
people can take a joke these days.
I don't know why, you don't have to come after comedians. We're not politicians or, spiritual leaders. I think it's a bad thing for a number of reasons. One, first of all, we're all going to get canceled at some point.
At some point,
Someone's
yeah.
going to say something that somebody, and it's never anything you think is going to be offensive.
Right.
It'll be, what? You don't like the word nipple? I mean, you just never know. So we're all going to it was a joke. We're all going to get canceled at some point. And my worry is, whenever the pendulum swings so far in one direction, that's just the law. If it's going to come back in the other, and then it's going to be horrible, because people will get so upset about everyone being so over woke that it's going to get to, I think, a free-for-all, really non-inclusive place. So I think if we need to practice somewhere in the middle, not, this whole, that's it for someone. And also it's ridiculous because canceling feels like it's just detention. It's like someone's canceled, they come back in a couple of years. Like, it seems like a bit of an exercise in futility. And the other problem with it is that everybody's in the same bundle. Like, you can't put Harvey Weinstein and somebody who just had a bad date, so the woman's upset. Like, you can't have those. Like, there's got to be varying degrees. A comedian making a joke or one tweet should not be in the same bracket as someone committing horrific felonies.
Right.
And I feel like with our cancel culture,
also
there's
the tweets can be like 20 years old now too.
Exactly. And you know what? Look at half the movie. Like, I have the sense of humor of a 14-year-old boy, and we joke about Tropic Thunder and some of these comedy classics.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way they could come out now.
Right.
I mean, even things 4 years ago, completely canceled. I love that. Like, my brother and I have this ritual that we've been watching The Three Stooges, and we joke about. It's on some old timey station, Chris, or you can get them on Netflix. They'd be canceled 1,000 times over, because they're from the 1930s to 50s. They'd be canceled for violence, for appropriation, even if the woman's playing the queen, they're like, "What are you doing, toots?" Of course, it makes me laugh. Yeah. I just think, of course, like, we've got to lighten up. Not that there wasn't its place, because there has to be a place where bullying is stopped, but people can't be afraid to speak, especially if here's the deal. If you don't like what a comedian's saying, don't listen or watch that comedian. It's not like it's Clockwork Orange and we're forcing your eyes open and, you can't leave the room until you hear my stuff. As I said, like, I was joking, like, earlier, I probably offended every non-vegan and vegan. Like, at some point, especially if you're making jokes, I guess, but a lot of people are looking to be offended. I don't know. Nothing offends me. That's why I said, make any joke. First of all, I have a bit of ADD, so I'll forget about it. Secondly, usually I'm too busy. I just feel like we have greater concerns right now than, and listen, language is very important, and you have to be careful of your words. I think they do hold power. But I don't really give a shit about a tweet from 25 years ago. I don't think that defines you as a human.
Yeah.
And remember, we're always evolving. So things that were acceptable, or maybe we weren't educated enough that we were doing, all right, let us correct. But there should be a statute of limitations on.
Yeah, that's true.
And it feels like some things are still open season and some things aren't. It's very weird. Like, I think it's horrific.
Yeah, it's very interesting you said that, because I thought there's no statute of limitations on some stuff that's were already in, like in the internet domain. Mm-hmm. This was happening to businesses, like pretty much the whole time, right? When this Yelp thing came on, people were putting Yelp reviews.
Right.
So there was no statute of limitation on any of that. So
and that can really harm people.
Yeah. Cheapest has a statute of limitation.
Exactly. Which is
online review for a business that they may have a bad day and they fucked it up. That thing has no statute of limitations.
Well, so true.
And now it's coming to little by little comedy. Now it's like sneaking into everything else. I think this started from businesses.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't ever heard that perspective, and I know how damaging that's been. Even last night when we were screening the movie I was telling you about, for a long time it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And he said, so we have all these great reviews, but because of 2 reviews, it drops down to 88. Like, and somebody's having a bad day or doesn't really like you or has a vendetta, and this director's hurt by, like, it's so ridiculous. But when you put the power, just like, hey, when American Idol started or America's Got Talent, How many times when I just did, which is in my latest bio, but I created this comedy competition called Fresh Meat.
Hmm.
And it's really hard because when you put the power in the audience's hands, I tried to make it like half the judges vote and half the audience vote, because one comic just might bring 50 friends and they could have been the worst one
Right.
that night, but they've got a big online following and so they win. So and I was saying to the woman I was producing it with, look, Jennifer Hudson didn't win American Idol. Like, some of the biggest stars didn't win. It's because,
Right.
listen, all the arts, they're not precise sciences. Comedy, to me, and traditionally was what brought people together and helped people
Right.
escape, right? I mean,
And still is.
and should be. But now instead, with our current temperature, it's divisive. I mean, you can lose friends. Now it's not just politics. You can lose friends now over comedy
Right.
because you still choose to like a comedian that they feel should be canceled. I think that's the wrong direction. I mean, you're never going to please all the people all the time. That's impossible.
Well,
Ask
yeah, I
Jesus.
think that.
See, and then people are like, don't make like religion. Like, for me, I like to make, and again, I think I do a lot of feel good comedy. I try very hard. Like, there's just certain rules. Like, don't be mean. Don't be talking about someone's appearance. Like, try to. It's more like the shirt they're wearing. I mean, this is the simple rule for hecklers. Like, if someone comes at me, you don't say something about what they were born with. You say something like, "What's with the Hawaiian shirt that makes you look like a divorced dad on a cruise?" And then there are little nuances
Right.
that can make it less offensive, but obviously I've just offended a divorced guy, dad on a
Hmm.
cruise somewhere. I mean, every punchline, something or somebody takes a hit. I mean, and I
What
do
was the
plenty of
joke?
jokes about I mean, like, that's plenty of jokes about myself, but I like to try to keep my comedy positive because it is another sort of meditation. It's like a mantra. You're saying the same things every night. So I'm very cautious of, you're going up there every night and saying, "Oh, I'm broke and I'm a loser in love," and like some people, or this is killing me. I'm a woo enough to think, be careful. That's why I'm trying to make more jokes about, "Oh, I won the Powerball again,"
Oh.
because comedy repeats. Right. So
Right.
you want to be cautious of that too, but that's, again, just my humble opinion. So why not say things that are more on the positive side? Just sometimes it's tough. We're grappling with some huge problems right now that, we got world hunger, we got brink of World War III, we've had like a pandemic that lasted longer than the man bun. Why don't you concentrate on that shit? Don't worry about a tweet that said something
Um,
that went against body positivity or something. Like, I just don't have time right now.
that's a different podcast. Body
It is.
positivity.
It is.
Um, you in LA. What do you think about dating in LA? Dating scene.
Well, the dating scene's tough. It's tough. You know, I I
Have
don't
you
know.
like dated
It's
any other state? Well, how is it dating in Canada?
no. I think dating in Canada is easier, probably. I'm a serial monogamist. Like, I'm just always engaged or married
Hmm.
or have a steady boyfriend. So I'm not the best one to ask because I don't. I'm not on farmerstanonly.com or whatever. I just know
Farmers
from my
only.
yes, my girlfriends just say it's a nightmare, and especially in LA. But I always think humans are humans everywhere, so it's probably rough out there, general sweep. But everything's always a little heightened in LA, and people seem to have agendas, and it's Hollywood, so there's probably different. I don't know. Again, I don't lean into it. But I just well, again, now I just so terrified because online dating, like, it's pretty dangerous. It's like an extreme sport. Yikes.
Why do you
You
think
don't
it's
know who you're
dangerous?
meeting. Well, because for women, you can swipe right, and who knows who's even showing up. Of course, we're getting into cars with strangers now because of Uber, so I guess it's no different than that.
Yeah, I
You
think
just
that's
want to
way more
be.
dangerous than going on a date with a stranger on a
Well, it's the same
restaurant where
thing.
other
You're off.
people are.
That's true. Yeah, I always say like meet up during the daylight for coffee
Right.
first. Take it from there.
Good advice.
Yeah.
In other words, don't go in the alley.
Try. Oh well, that's just generally, not just for dating. Just never go into an alley if you can. If you can avoid it, don't go in an
Yeah,
alley.
but that's the thing. They don't avoid these days. They go into the alley and go, "This is not supposed to happen to me."
I know. Well, I think sometimes people are thrill seekers, or we self sabotage, or I don't know what it is. Right? It goes back to the very beginning of the podcast. Who knows what we humans are up to half the time?